Hello, everybody. Well, Richard Tice and Reform UK have been coming under increasing fire over the last, several days, couple of weeks, whatever you want to call it, with regard to an apparent connection between Richard Tice and an organisation known as Hope Not Hate. And the whole narrative appears to be around the fact that Hope Not Hate pulled the strings with regard to reform and instruct Richard Tice what to do and what not to do. You can see it everywhere. Just Google the two names and you can see what comes up. Of course, there's a lot of fight back from reform. Richard Tice has said, utter nonsense. It's ridiculous. They've deselected a handful of candidates. I say a handful, but there are numbers where they've delved into their past, delved into their social media histories, and found that they've said some things which probably don't necessarily marry up with the party message. So one by one, these candidates have basically found themselves out in their ear. The whole idea is if you're not prepared to obey by the party standards that have been put in front of you, then you don't have a place as a PPC for reform. Now, there's a guy called Charlie Sansom who has an account on X, and he's published on there a letter or an email that apparently has been sent around members of reform, telling them or warning them to not be controversial when they're doing things and saying things where the public can see what they're actually up to. And I think it's very important that we read through this now and see what's going on. So here we are. I'll make this full screen, but I will read it out to you. Okay, you can see this on X, by the way. An important announcement from Paul Oakden, CEO of the party. Dear candidates, we have had a remarkable few weeks with our first MP, our first 16% in the polls, and with the momentum undeniably behind us. The overwhelming majority of our candidates have been invaluable in getting us to this point. To them all, thank you. With regret, however, those of us tasked with leading and running our party have, over the last fortnight particularly, had our delight at this success significantly diluted as a result of a very small handful of now former candidates who have, inexplicably, been using their position as a candidate to express appalling, thoroughly unacceptable and entirely discriminatory views on their social media accounts. This kind of behaviour doesn't just risk undoing so much of the good work that we have all achieved together, but poses a very real threat to the chances that so many of you have in making the kind of impact you deserve at the next general election. We understand that politics attract people with views and opinions, and we'll always defend that right where it's appropriate to do so. We also understand that every party has its share of rogue candidates and members. But as candidates, we all share in collective responsibility. As we've said before, what a candidate might tweet or post in Cornwall can have huge implications on a candidate running in Aberdeen. As a candidate, you're not just speaking for yourself, you're speaking for the party, the leader, and your fellow candidates. I think they call that collective responsibility. That responsibility is huge and must always be respected. Sadly, we've all been badly let down by a handful of people over the last 14 days. And instead of being able to talk positively about our recent success, Richard is instead spending his time on the media talking about social media posts. Now, the number of people that are opponents in both politics and the media will have trawling through your social media accounts will be larger in number and significantly better funded than our entire core team. Now, that very much leads into something that I've said before, in that when you're in a position of authority or if you put yourself in the spotlight for any reason whatsoever, there will always be someone somewhere that will look at your activity before you were in that position and try and, take you down, remove you from the situation. And, you know, people can look back years. It could just be one post that you put unknowingly, and it can be used and twisted against you. It really is a cutthroat world out there. And, this is the kind of thing that happens. Anyway, we continue. And so frustratingly, we're having to reallocate much needed resource to undergo a second vetting of our candidates. I'm writing to reassure you that should we find any further such vitriol, it will be dealt with swiftly and harshly. We will not allow individuals with their own personal agendas to hijack your incredible efforts or to derail the vital mission we're on. Be assured that this action isn't being taken because we're afraid, as one such person has tried to suggest, or to pacify the mainstream media. We're taking these steps because views that are racist, discriminatory, and misogynistic have no place in our party, nor will they ever. Saving Britain will be a collective effort. We need the help and support of every person in this country who treasures our history, our culture, who understands the dire situation we're currently in, and who believes in the positive and optimistic vision we've set for our future. Anybody looking to stand for reform who thinks this is limited to people of a specific ethnicity, religion, or sexual preference is very much in the wrong place. Knowing so many of you as I do, I'm hugely reassured in my certainty that you will agree and share in this view. Now, more than ever, we need you to do all you can to support Richard and the party and continuing our rapid growth as we look to replace the toxic Tories and lifeless Labour with a political movement that believes in Britain. Our thanks to you all again for your sterling efforts. Paul Oakden, CEO, Reform UK, ends. So there you go. There you go. A letter to the members basically saying, watch what you say and watch what you do, because it will reflect very badly. Now, there's two ways of looking at it. You could look at it that an outside influence is leaning on the party and saying, wind your necks in, you're going to do it this way. Or it is a party that's made so much progress in, the way they've conducted themselves and how far ahead they are in the polls, that they're worried that just one slip from one person, it could undo the whole thing and it could all come crashing down to earth. And that would be a shame. Now, with the general election as it is, there is an awful lot of media messaging out there with regard to what we should and what we shouldn't be thinking. I've covered this many times before. We have to make a decision, don't we, who we trust with the future of this country. Now, the Conservatives have made a complete horlicks of the whole thing. And the way the system is set up, there's a very big danger. We're going to get 4 years of the Labour Party. I dread to think where we'll be then. Now, all of these disenfranchised folks need to come out and vote. They need to realise that this country needs a different direction to go in if it's going to have a chance, if it's going to have a chance to repair itself and save itself. The time to act is now. When else is there? If not now, when? If not us, who, as the saying goes. Let me know what you think of this in the comments below and your impressions of that email I just read out. Your comments are important. Perhaps we'll address them at the end of the week or over the weekend. As always, please hit the like button. It helps the algorithm shove my stuff around. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Make sure you still are if you have. And as always, share my stuff on your social media. Another video should have popped up for you now. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Toodaloo.